It's an Illini basketball post-game pod on No One Asked Us. He's Craig Choate. I'm Logan Lee. We're coming to you after the Illinois win over Maryland Thursday night. The Illini take down the Terrapins 76-64 at the State Farm Center. We're going to break it down for you here. It was an interesting game. We'll say that. We'll start that from the top. Before we get into this, though, I would like everybody that's watching this on YouTube to do me a favor and hit the like button.
Yes.
This is something we mentioned this whole like, subscribe, share thing at the top of every single one of our shows, unless I forget. But we need to start pushing this a little more. So if you are watching this on YouTube, which I know several people are, just hit the like button. Really help us out. Be a big favor for me and for Craig. And with that being said, let's get into this thing. So Illinois basketball takes on Maryland Thursday night. They return home after the win at Minnesota on Tuesday. A quick 2 games in 3 day stretch thanks to the COVID pause that pushed the Tuesday game back. They came out strong. They really looked good. The first 10 minutes of this game, obviously what happened after that in the first half was not promising, and we'll touch on that as we get a little further. But they started off strong, had their, which we talked about last show, their little break where they kind of fall apart. Now, the reason I think this game was a little different than in the past, but then they finished strong in the second half. So before we get into kind of the nuts and bolts of this thing, overall thoughts on this outcome, this game, going into it, where were you at and how do you feel now?
Well, after the first 5 minutes, I was like, all right, we're good. It's this is going to be a blowout. That changed quickly. Even at halftime, I was a little concerned. I was walking around the house kind of quiet, and then came out in the second half and had their way there for the first part of the second half and pulled away and never really allowed it to get close in the second half. So I was thinking during that drought in the end of the first half, what we had talked about on Tuesday night and even on Monday on our full episode, our full show, about being more concerned about this game than Tuesday, because it was a quicker turn coming off of a COVID pause. So I think that probably had something to do with that drought, and a lot of the shots were coming up short and they were making bad decisions and there wasn't much movement. So it could have been a little fatigue from the pause, but overall, I don't think you could have asked for much better, in all honesty.
No. I think it's a win at home. Illinois now improves to 4-0 in the Big Ten season to start the year. That's huge. That is winning road games, winning home games. Right now, I haven't
first time
looked
since
at the standings,
2010.
but is that really the last time they were there?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Big Ten standings. Ohio State lost tonight. We'll talk about that a little later. So now it's just Illinois and Michigan State, I believe, at the top of the standings in the 4-0 department. But real quick on this game specifically, I wanted to talk about, so we talked about the great start Illinois went on, and I believe it was 21-7. Illinois led after a Kofi layup at the 10:50 mark. And then 16 seconds later, Kofi picks up foul number 2. Mm-hmm. I believe this is how it worked out.
Yes.
And then he goes to the bench at the 10:34 mark. And from there, with Illinois leading 21-7, Minnesota goes on a run. I don't remember what it was at that point, but to the point where they have now taken the lead towards the end of the first half. And I think my
26-7 run, I believe is what it was.
Something like that.
I just had to pull up and I left.
My thoughts going into the half were just get the lead. Just get the lead going into halftime. Kofi comes back. He'll have his 3 fouls to play with. He'll play most of the second half, if not the whole thing. They'll be fine. And they didn't get the lead. In fact, they did not get the lead back until, let's see, when was that? I need to do a better job of taking notes of this stuff. So it was 36-30, 36-32. Illinois did not take the lead back in this game until It was a while.
11:51 left. 48.
Was that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a while. So that the first part of that second half was a little worrisome. But they pulled it together. Trent Frazier got real hot real quick. He heated up. The outside shooting was not really there. It wasn't really there last game either.
Trent had 8 straight points.
Yeah. Other than Trent's outburst there late in the second half, there wasn't a lot of outside shooting. This game was a lot of Kofi when he was on the floor. Kofi finished with 23 points, 18 rebounds. He almost had more rebounds than points in his, what did we say, 28 minutes on the floor, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Trent Frazier, who did not sit the entire game, he played all 40 minutes and scored 16 points, including those four 3-pointers. Alfonso Plummer had 12 points. He hit a couple of threes. He took 8 of those, took 8 shots from beyond the arc. DeMonte had 8. Jacob Grandison had 5. He was not at his best tonight. Coleman Hawkins looked good. Coleman had a nice game, had a lot of energy. Was nice to see him coming off the bench. He played a lot of key moments at the 5 spot when Kofi was down. He finished with 8 points, 8 boards, one of his better games really this season. Omar Payne looked good too. Limited minutes. He scored a bucket, got a nice dunk. We don't see a lot of Omar points. But the bench was not very deep tonight.
No.
The rotation was pretty limited. Outside of Payne and Hawkins, wasn't much. I know Luke Goody got in there for a little bit. Bosman's Verdonk played a little bit, but it wasn't much other than that. But a win's a win.
Yeah.
Illinois improves to 4-0 now in the Big Ten, and they can take that. They have a few days now to rest, which is going to be good because they're going to need that after the stretch they've had with the pause and everything. So they got some things to work on.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that late into the second half until Illinois took the lead. I thought they got it was late early.
Yeah, it was late.
But then they just kind of pulled away. Kofi had, I want to say, I guess I can pull it up here because you can go half by half. I think maybe not. I feel like he only had like 7 points in the first half, and he ended with 28.
I think, it wasn't a lot.
It was 23 and 18. I just saw Illini Stats and Notes tweet out that Kofi had 15 rebounds in the second half, and Maryland as a team had 10. And we talked about the rebounding margin Tuesday night. Tonight, it was 45-27 in favor of Illinois. Maryland's 2 bigs, both 6'10" guys, both fouled out, which tells you how tough it is to guard Kofi. It's just incredible how much different this team is without him on the floor. They looked absolutely lost offensively, and they couldn't guard anyone defensively. It's a completely different team.
This was the worst they've looked without him on the floor. They've been able to, we've talked about their struggles without him on the floor, but they haven't looked this bad. Yeah. I mean, they looked totally lost for those 10 minutes. Yep. I mean, it was abysmal. This team obviously has players that can score and do things with the basketball, and they go possessions with him on the floor where he doesn't even touch the ball.
Yeah.
But with him not out there for that stretch of time and without a true point guard on the floor, they struggled. Yeah, they really did. I mean, it's definitely worrisome when you get into these stretches against teams that actually have players that can shut Kofi down, which we haven't really seen yet. This is another team that had zero answer for him other than the guy that tried to dunk on him and jump on his shoulders and not get a technical.
Reese. That guy played. Oh no, he played 20 minutes.
That was a choice.
Yeah,
somebody made a decision.
That's when the run started.
Yeah, it really was.
That was the turning point. Jalen Reese, I just looked it up. Julian Reese, freshman for Maryland, had a dunk on Kofi. And put his legs on top of Kofi's shoulders, basically. He how like dads carry their kids on their shoulders. It was basically the opposite. His legs were the other way. Basically teabagged him is what he did. And from then on, it was a Illini
family show, Craig.
Yeah. It was an Illini just nearly having their way. Yeah, that made it 42-39 with 16:04 left.
Yeah.
So it was a 3-point game, and it, like you said, didn't get the lead till 11:50 left, but still, that's when you kind of saw the tide turn when they didn't call a technical for some reason. My only thought is that the refs agreed that he was hanging on it because Kofi was standing under the rim, but if you see it, that's not what was going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, this is an Illinois win. They improved to 4-0 on the season. They have played, honestly, though, outside of Iowa, they haven't really played the best this conference has to offer. Though they haven't played Nebraska yet, who is the worst team in this conference. But Maryland still hasn't won a game.
Did you see who has? Excuse me. Did you see who has played the easiest Big Ten schedule so far?
No, I didn't see that.
Take a guess.
Purdue?
Nope. The other
Michigan?
Big Ten favorite, Michigan. And they're 1-3 or 1-2, and they played the easiest Big Ten schedule so far.
How have they played an easier schedule than Illinois has?
I don't know. I just saw the.
I'm not trying to take anything away from Illinois' 4-0 start, but I'm looking at Dylan. Do you see the thing that Dylan Burkhart at UM Hoops tweeted out today? The Big Ten efficiency margin thing that was circulating around the internet.
Yes.
Did you see this?
Yes.
So he posted. I'm looking at this. This was posted today before tonight's game. But in terms of Big Ten efficiency, Nebraska, who is 0-4 in the conference, is just absolutely abysmal on both the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. But then it's Rutgers, who Illinois has played, and then Minnesota, who Illinois has played, and then there's Penn State, and then up a spot from there is Maryland, who Illinois has played, and then up a couple spots from them is Iowa. So it's not like Illinois has played the best of the best. So I wonder who has Michigan played.
Take a guess. Who are the three worst teams in the Big Ten?
Nebraska, Rutgers, and Minnesota or Maryland.
Oh, you nailed it. The first three. Okay. That's who Michigan has played, and they're 1-2.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, yeah. So it's a win. Illinois will now take that and move on to. They will play Nebraska now. That's going to be the next game. They get some time off. That game is not until next Tuesday. It's going to be in Lincoln on the Big Ten Network Tuesday night, 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 for us. So that will be the next game. Let's talk about the Ayo stuff. Ayo Dosunmu was back in Champaign to have his jersey raised to the rafters at State Farm Center to be joined by the other 30-some men's basketball greats that are up there.
I believe he's the 34th.
34th. So his 11 will hang next to the other iconic 11, D Brown, obviously. It was cool to see him back. DeMar DeRozan was in attendance. I'm sure you saw that. His Chicago Bull teammate and right now a All-NBA candidate was in attendance at State Farm Center to see Ayo. So that was pretty cool. Literally all his family was there, which because obviously they go everywhere. So that was cool. Not really sure how I feel about taking 8 minutes to interview him during the game, but I'm not a Maryland fan, so I was enjoying it a little bit more than they probably were, but it was good to see him there.
Yeah. He was back for the ring ceremony for the exhibition game, and we were, both of us and everyone was kind of like, why an exhibition game? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So it was good to have him back. I know a ton of people were upset that it was this game because students are on break. So the crowd wasn't great, but he's in the NBA. Like he's not available for every game. You have to pick and choose here. I did look at the Bulls schedule. There were a couple other nights where the Bulls didn't play that he could have came down, but either the day before or the next day they had a road game or a game. So I'm sure they might play tomorrow. I don't know. It was really cool to see him there. And the interview, I think, was great for the program because he talked about how, he's contributing right now because Billy Donovan didn't have to really coach him up much because of what Brad did for him at Illinois. So that's a good stamp of approval for the program. And I think the coolest part of it was what you mentioned, that DeMar DeRozan came down with him and supported him for a 10, 12-year NBA vet. to come down 2.5 hours to support a rookie that you just met 4 months ago, that says a lot about Ayo and Amar. I know Nico Hefflinger from Fox, Illinois tweeted that he got an interview with DeMar asking about Ayo. So I'm really excited to hear that and hear what DeMar has to say. But I just think it's the start for Ayo. It's good for him to get this recognition, but I think he's going to have a long NBA career, and that's a positive for this program because he'll be the first of this new wave to do that. Because I think there are a couple pros going to come through here in the next 5, 6, 10 years, however much longer Brad Underwood's here, because who knows what happened after Brad leaves. So it was really exciting. The one thing that I kind of was upset about is that ESPN2 did not show any of it until midway through the second half, or right before, I guess, Ayo's interview. They showed like him walking out and just pulling the banner, and no social media stream. Like Illini Athletics didn't stream it anywhere. Like if you weren't there, you didn't get to see it. And I think that's something that they could have easily just streamed the video board feed. So I don't know what their thinking was there.
I wasn't surprised that ESPN2 didn't show it.
Yeah.
But I was more surprised that there wasn't an official stream of some sort. I stepped away from the game at halftime to go do some other stuff, knowing that I could come back and watch it. And I was able to watch, other people had tweeted videos out. So I was able to see that stuff, which was fine. But I was also surprised that there wasn't something more, as you said, like a live stream or something from Illini Athletics. But yeah, the whole Ayo thing, just the way he's asserted himself in that rotation, the rotation of one of the best teams, surprisingly, in the NBA. And it's great to see that the hometown kid. I mean, that's going to be his thing from now until he's no longer a Bull, which he may always be never, who knows? He's never had to leave the state borders of Illinois. That's incredible. Yeah, it's a cool story. It's a cool story. So it's good to see him back. I'm glad they got to do that. Take his jersey up to the rafters. His former teammate Kofi Cockburn will join him in a year or two whenever he is no longer with the program. But that was definitely a cool moment. Anything else in terms of this game that you want to talk about before we get on to some other basketball related things?
For those that don't, follow Illini Stats on Twitter, at Illini Stats. After every football and basketball game, they tweet out a ton of interesting stuff. So they just tweeted this. Illinois is out rebounding its opponents 196 to 109. That's an average of 49 to 27.3, and it's 4 Big Ten games. Even excluding every single one of Kofi's 61 Big Ten rebounds, the Illini have still out-rebounded their opponents 135 to 106 in Big Ten games. So if Kofi Cockburn had 0 rebounds in the Big Ten, Illinois would still have a rebounding margin over their opponents. That's crazy.
I 100% thought that I was already following that account, but after you said that, I went and looked and I wasn't. I know I've seen their stuff before. Must be because other people retweeted. I just assumed I was following them.
26 to 4 in second chance points. Illini have out rebounded 12 of 14 opponents and ranked second in the NCAA in rebounding margin. So
it's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, the team's playing well. Kofi's
16 points and 15 rebounds in the second half for Kofi today.
Yeah.
16 and 15 in the second half.
He's certainly the catalyst, and he's going to be what continues to keep this team going.
So they asked
until the end of the season.
They asked Ayo during his interview about his pro prospects. Ayo said he's a pro just because of the way he's built. I agree. I mean, he's going to make a roster. You don't find 7 feet 285 anywhere, really. But how good of a career is he going to have? Does he stay one more year? Does he go? I think he goes next year.
Oh, we're having this conversation now? Okay.
I just don't know that he fits the game. I wish he did, though.
20 years ago, he would have been a first overall draft pick.
Yeah.
But the game is very different now than it was then. I looked just for kicks. I looked at The Athletic posted a mock draft today on their site.
Not in it.
Both rounds, not a single mention of Kofi Cockburn.
Yeah.
I do believe he's a pro basketball player. You don't teach what he has. I don't know. We'll have to see. We've already talked about the lack of love that he's gotten this year in general.
Yeah. It's starting to come though. John Rothstein just tweeted he's the national player of the year because his numbers this year are better than Luka Garza's the last 2 years, and Luka won player of the year. So it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. No, it'll get there. I have a hard time believing that he won't go pro after this season.
Yeah.
But the same thing we talked about this past year with name, image, likeness. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. Again, I don't want to get that far ahead because we certainly still have a lot of this season to go. But
I think he's really helped his stock this year because he's hitting a lot of pull-ups and his free throw percentage is way up. So he's getting some more touch on his shot, which is what he needs. He needs to be able to step out and hit a 15, 16, 20 footer.
And free throws. He's hitting free throws too.
Yeah.
So that's huge. It's huge for him. It's huge for this team. Just got to get that point guard back, and things will start to click a little more. So coming up for Illinois, as we mentioned, they do play Nebraska on Tuesday night. That one's in Lincoln, and then they return home for what was going to be a really intriguing matchup. It still is intriguing against Michigan on Friday night of next week. But we talked about Michigan is not the team we expected them to be going into this season. So I'm certainly not saying that's a game to look past, but it's not nearly as exciting as I think we were both intending on it being.
Watch them get it figured out that night.
Well, that could happen too. Illinois at Nebraska on Tuesday night. That's next Tuesday, January 11th. And then at home against Michigan on the 14th on Friday. And then the big one will be that following Monday, Martin Luther King Day. This one is at noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central time. Again, that is on Monday, Martin Luther King Day against Purdue. That will be, I would imagine, a top 25 matchup at that point.
Yeah. Illinois they'll be ranked.
Illinois will be ranked Monday. I was wanting to propose the question, how high, what's the largest jump mid-season a team can make from that comes out of the 25 into the 25. I'm not saying that these wins that they've had have earned them of that. It's not like they just beat Purdue and Michigan State.
Yeah.
But I think this team, we talked about it for the last few weeks. This team is not 29th or 26th in the country. They're just not.
I think the most I've seen, someone comes from unranked to maybe 16, 17, 18. I don't know that Illinois will get that. I think they'll probably be 22, 23, something like that. And it all depends on who loses ahead of them. It depends on who loses from that 16 to 25 range, which one did last night. Providence got throttled by Marquette.
Well, Illinois won't have the chance to lose again before the next top 25 rankings comes out because they won't play again before then. So that's what's coming up for the Illini tonight around the Big Ten. There was an interesting outcome. Was this in Bloomington?
Yes.
This game with Ohio State, who, as I mentioned, came into the game as one of the 3 remaining unbeaten teams in Big Ten play. They were 3-0 going into this game, number 13 ranked, go to Bloomington and lose to Indiana 67-51. Just throttled. I have no idea what happened in this game. Obviously, my attention was elsewhere, but my goodness, that was
it looks something. Like, looking at the game flow on ESPN, it was a 46-45 game with 10 minutes left, and it was a 52-48 game with 6:40 left. And then Indiana went on a 15-3 run to end the game.
Wow. All right. So the other game going on in the Big Ten is happening right now as we're recording this. Wisconsin's hosting Iowa. Wisconsin's up 3 on the Hawkeyes. They're only about halfway through the first half. The other thing of note from a basketball standpoint, Illinois did lose out on a recruit today. Jeremy Fears, the product from La Lumiere in LaPorte near me, who had Illinois in his top 3, announced today he's going to go to play for Tom Izzo in Michigan State. Don't know that was a huge shock, but he was, as I said, in his final 3 picks. So that's Not ideal, but it is what it is. So they'll have to move on from that. I'm sure they've been aware of that, but it was at least something of note that they will have to, regroup from that. Were you surprised?
No.
Did you think he was coming to Champaign?
No. Everything I saw had led me to believe that wasn't the pick, and that Illinois honestly wasn't all that high on him anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So again, we're not recruiting experts here. If you want that, go listen to Derek Piper and read all his stuff on Illini Inquirer, because he's plugged into that stuff. But not surprised. And at this point, a couple of my friends and I made are of the same belief. We trust Brad in recruiting. We got a great 2022 class with Sincere Harris, Jaden Epps, and Ty Rogers. 2023 is setting up to be pretty good. So losing out on a guy like that is no reason to panic when you have some other guys left on the board that are pretty impressive.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to, but even more to look forward to this season, because Illinois has something cooking here, and they're not ready to let off the throttle just yet. So, okay, before we shut it down, anything else you want to touch on for the night? I don't think so. Other positive thoughts, negative thoughts? Did you want to give your opinions on the ESPN2 broadcast?
It was not good. It was not good. The first shot I saw, Illinois' jerseys were yellow, and I was like, oh God, what is going on here? And then I heard the play-by-play guy. I was like, who is? No, get him out of here.
Yeah, it was not.
It was not very good.
Jason Benetti was in the building calling the game for national radio on Westwood One, which, I mean, good for him to go back and do a game for radio. But why he was not on the TV call for this game, I will not understand if he was available. No. Whatever. Besides me, not the point. Illinois wins this one over Maryland 76-64. They return to action on Tuesday night at Nebraska. We'll be back with another show sometime. We haven't really talked about this. The football championship is on Monday night, which is normally when we record. So we're either going to record Sunday and do a preview for that, or we'll record Tuesday and do a recap of that. We don't really know, but Illinois plays Tuesday. We're probably recording on Sunday. Again, we're just flying by the seat of our pants, so we'll get that information out to you when we know. But either way, we will have a show for you coming up here in the next few days. Don't forget, once again, like this video if you're watching this on YouTube. That would really be appreciated by both Craig and myself. And look forward to seeing you guys next time. Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Follow us on Twitter at No One Asked Us Pod, at Craig W. Choate, at the Logan Lee. And I think that's going to do it for us. Anything else from you, sir?
Nada.
Not a thing. All right. For Craig Choate, I'm Logan Lee. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.